good, Elevators? It's your boy Elevation here with another episode of the JBP Elevated, where we speak on the Joe Budden podcast and all of his co-hosts on and off the pod. All right, everyone. It has been made official. Mona Love is a part of the JBP, and Joe made sure to let us know that it would be starting off at once a week for as long as she wants to be there. Meaning until they drive her up a wall and she gets smoothed the hell up out of there. But considering this was her first episode, you can see first episode jitters. You can see there is a start there.
Oh no. What transpired that led to this kind of chaos is a mystery to me. What would prevent Mona from collaborating with Breakbeat Media in the future? You already know where I'm headed with this, of course. If I hear this, Joe hears it. Joe was going to jump on this. If Mona switches to full-time as well, don't be shocked if she still does well in Joe's eyes. The first query I saw in this video, along with a shout out to the JBTV community on Twitter, they spend a lot of time cooking. You will undoubtedly see whatever clip is trending on the JBTV community if you don't see it on the pod itself. So give them a shout out. So are you gonna move out there? Talking about New York or New Jersey with Joe and them is the first thing I hear in this audio though. And she said, not yet, but just know that I'm not going back to Breakbeat Media. Mona's persistence on wanting to be independent is another issue that caught my attention and could interfere with Joe's future ambitions. She sounds anxious since Breakbeat Media didn't provide her with the viewership she had hoped for, but she also comes off as unwilling to pay for her own initiative. I'm not sure if I should view this as a good thing or as a similar situation to Math Hoffa's when Emio failed because he lost the barbershop, or because she is already working with Draw. She claims she won't miss any drops, so we need to pay attention to that now. She still has the Breakbeat Media contract to complete, of course. However, I'm interested to watch how she releases stuff outside of Breakbeat Media and how long it takes Joe to approach her. Conversely, if I were Joe, I would be thrilled to hear this. Nobody anticipated that she would simply quit Breakbeat Media, but it's not like it happened overnight. Additionally, they seem to be departing on bad terms. Even though she was the most well-known person in their network, she feels disappointed since they were supposed to help her advance in the business because she was talented, and they were expected to support her as a label would. But that is simply not how they are operating. The way that operates is amusing. She therefore understands that she can now sort of go anywhere she wants to go because she has enough pull in the area. She did, however, disclose that her present contract with JPB isn't as extensive as people might think. Therefore, I'm wondering if Joe is paying her more than Breakbeat Media already, and it's just not what she expected, or if she was lying to irritate the JVP co-host when she first appeared on JPB and was discussing how Joe handed her the huge bag. If so, why would she have done that if she hadn't been instructed to? We may therefore be able to piece together some information based on her separation from Break Media. I'm not sure if this was a friendly split. On her end, it doesn't sound that way. Joe is currently licking his chops, but we'll have to hear from the owners. Melissa has already given me 2 female replacements, but we haven't heard back from her yet. I know, congrats to Chatterbox and all those who have been covering it. Melissa has at last gained public recognition, but Joe doesn't even seem to be listening to her. They continue to disparage Melissa whenever they can. Mark Lamont Hill is also participating. It would be different if Don't Call Me White Girl had already achieved independence and then signed with Joe and continued to do that on the side. This news came just as she was about to sign with the JPB, and I already knew there was a conflict with that because how can you work with 2 networks at the same time? However, it appears like she's going to do just that. When someone has already signed with someone else, this is the first time they've done so, as she is quote-unquote leaving Breakbeat Media or being released from Breakbeat Media at the same time as she signed with Joe. So it is really odd timing. She has only appeared in 2 of 4 episodes. But wow, we really must focus on this one moving forward. However, would you rush to sign Mona if you were Joe? Would you like her demographic to be part of your network? We already see what happens each time Joe has a female-led podcast under his network, and that's not me calling her ratchet or anything. No one else who has anything has signed under Joe as much as I would like to claim that. Additionally, Flip and Joe were the creators of the shows that Philip had beneath Joe. Under the Joe Budden network, it wasn't a Flip invention. So I would be really interested to watch how that plays out. This would be very beneficial for Joe, a significant pickup since everyone is moving around the room. As you already know, Joe sees himself similarly to Ken Sir, which is my favorite analogy, and Ken has started enrolling them. This would represent a significant acquisition for the Joe Budden network, and silence is maintained. If Mona is taken care of after you sign her, and you know she will be honest about whether or not she is, this will help you attract additional talented people to join your network. Joe, this could be a big sign right here, if that's the path you intend to take, and if Mona is even interested in taking that path. Until the time comes to be independent, everyone talks about independence. Her IP is now at an all-time high. Will she, or is she prepared to support it financially? Because one thing that was on my mind was, when you're doing it alone, YouTube is cake. All of the audio and visuals are your responsibility while you're editing alone. You are able to compensate yourself. But what happens when someone else depends on a check? This podcast features more than just Mona. What was the salary of the other individuals? Will Mona pay for these individuals out of pocket until the sponsorships and views make up for it? Because I could tell you right now that if she receives 50,000 to 60,000 views on YouTube for each episode, that's $300 to $1,000. Can you, them, the production, and the editing be funded with $4,000 or $8,000 each month? It's a huge step, but the podcast is too big to change the format, the setting, or anything else. Changing your employer or signer is one thing, but you can't change the pod's, appearance. This has everything to do with Joe, even if it has nothing to do with him. And since many people don't talk about it, let's hope Mona can continue funding the ship. Every time I see a YouTuber who was signed to a large corporation, the corporation is acquired and the YouTuber decides to go it alone. They say, oh, it's going to be hard, right? I am uncertain about my ability to finance this. I owe money to some people again. The same thing is true. They get large enough to be perceived as a corporation, but they have no desire to function like one. They want to remain being considered employees. Will Mona continue to work as an independent contractor, or is she going to advance this while paying for it herself? Because silence is maintained. Joe experienced the same thing that Mona did, and since your IP is at an all-time high, it's easy to sign with someone else. But what happens if you finance it yourself and it continues to grow? If you were to finance it yourself, the first 2 years might be very difficult. There is no sponsorship for you. Consider making use of sponsorships. They're offering $30,000 for 6 months or whatever. You say, hell yeah. And then you spend that money. It's like you need to find another sponsor now. After that, you start over. It seems as if independence has been lost again. Will anyone else adopt the same approach? Mona might be among the first women to do so in an urban setting. It's a big turning point, yet you know how I behave. On my end, it's just supposition. Please tell me in the comment box. If you enjoyed the video, please like it. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the page. You already know how we're rolling if you have. Over here, you already know what it is. See y'all tomorrow. Be careful out here, everyone. Calm.